Hey, good morning, good morning. Is Daweed the Chosen, or on other platforms is Beloved the Chosen. Still David, all the same. And I just wanted to come to y'all today just to speak on something, little something different from the norm what I do. But this morning, on this fine Monday morning, October 21st, I wanted to speak on. First, let me get this scripture right quick. Second Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. And I know you all have heard it before. It says, Yahuah loves a cheerful giver. Yahuah loves a cheerful giver, right? All right. So the title of this is like two parts. The first part is treating people the way you want to be treated. And then the second part is expecting you out of others. And they kind of go hand in hand. You know, I had to learn. A lesson not too long ago. 9 years ago actually. So I was in my 40s. I was 42, but I learned it all the same, and that is when you treat people nice and you're considerate and whatnot. Don't always expect that in return from that person, and that goes in with the expecting you out of people. And I went through life, a lot of my life up until I was 42, expecting me out of others, and that was a lesson that I needed to learn. And one of my sisters actually taught me that lesson. It's so ironic. The same sister who taught the lesson, when I received my first check at 15, let me back up a little bit. Now, my mom, she's always taught us that, Yahuah loves a cheerful giver. It's better to give than receive. So early in life, what my mom used to do, back when I was celebrating the pagan holidays, she would give me and my siblings money to buy others, family members, gifts, right? So, I'm talking about when we was like young as like 7 and 8. She was teaching us that, instilling in us that it's better to give than receive type thing. So we would go in stores and, or she would have one over here. At the time, it was just me and my one sister. And because the other ones wasn't born yet. And the other two, they was living with their mom in Georgia. And then she'll have one over here, and then you go buy a shop for this one, like for Christmas, whatever, then vice versa. So my mom instilled in us at a young age that it's better to, give. Is giving is a good thing, right? So at 15, I had got my first real job. And I was just so excited about getting this job. And I remember when I had got my first check, I spent it on my sister. That's what I wanted to do. I felt good doing it. I felt good seeing the surprise in her eyes and face when I bought her things, what have you. But guess what? My mom was upset. I ain't gonna say she was pissed off, but she was upset about it. She's like, "Why you do that? That's your first check. You should have spent it on you." Now, this is the same woman that instilled in us how it's better to give than receive. And here I am at 15 putting it into practice. And she was like, I shouldn't have did it. But I was like, it made me happy to do it. I didn't expect anything. I'm about to say respect. I didn't expect anything in return, but I just wanted to do it, And throughout my life, I gave things away a lot. It would be, this is my mindset I'll have. I still have it now. Let's say if I wanted to give, some furniture away, which I have in the past, furniture, right? And I felt as though the money that I spent on that furniture, I can't recoup that money. That money is already gone. It's already spent. I've gotten my use out of it. And the furniture might still, pretty much, was still good furniture, whatever. So I wouldn't try to sell it. I would try to find someone who may be in need of a dining room, or as the country folks say, a living room suite, a living room set, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They can get their use out of it, There's a term I learned in college called dumpster diver, but it hadn't even made it to the dumpster. I wasn't gonna do that, but I just found people. Hey, you need a living room, or, you know, or you need a dining room table, and I remember giving a dining room table because I wanted to buy a new one, whatever. And a associate, I don't even call him a friend, an associate at the time, he had came to my crib and he seen that I had a new table. He was like, "What you do with the old one? I bet you just gave it away, didn't you? You gave it away." I was like, "Yeah, I gave it away." Like he was like that was a bad thing to do, right? And that same associate, I remember I did a video earlier. I tried to post it. It's on my PC. I'm gonna post it later on jealousy. But that same associate was so jealous, I found out. And I remember jealous people I was working with. Okay, so long story short, way back in the day, I used to be married. But my wife was living in DC, attending Howard University, and I was in Georgia at Fort Benning. And so they put me in housing. And I guess the person that when I went to sign up for housing on base, you know, they fancied me or whatever the case. I don't know. They just like, you know, they put me in the senior NCO quarters. Mind you, I was an E4 specialist, but they put me in the senior living quarters, senior NCOs. So my co-workers who was jealous, they found out that I was in the senior quarters and I was classified actually, not the fact that I was in the senior, this is what happened. I was considered a geographical bachelor. That's when your spouse isn't with you. So they used that as a way, because of their jealousy, to get me out of the senior quarters. And I had to go live in the barracks, which was cool. But, you know, it was just like, wow, that was foul. But when this happened, that associate friend of mine, I was going to put all my furniture in storage. But they had just got a house that they was renting, and it wasn't really any furniture there. So it was like, well, you ain't got to pay the money, put your stuff in storage. Just it can be here in this house, right? So it's like, it's a win-win. This is an associate of mine. I can put my furniture in this house and I have to pay anything. I got the key to the house, and him in turn, he could utilize the furniture. You know, it was a living room, it was a bedroom, and a dining room. Living room, bedroom, dining room, right? All right, so some months went by. I'm gonna say maybe this was in the 90s. So it had to have been, I'm just gonna guess. It wasn't no year went by. Maybe 6 months, we'll say 6 months went by. And I wouldn't invade the person's privacy like that, you know what I'm saying? I had stuff in the barracks, but occasionally we was associates, acquaintances, not really friends. We didn't hang out that much. But they would have functions at their house. I would go over there, whatever. And I remember it was a while that I had heard from them. Like, oh man, what's up with Boris? What's going on with him? And I drove by the house. House empty. No curtains to the window. You look through the window to the house, empty. Phone cut off. I'm like, what? This is the same person that had, a little attitude because I gave a dining room table away. But this joker done stole all my furniture. So then a year had passed. Now I'm at the club with the jealous cousin I mentioned in the other video. Man. And we see this acquaintance associate in here. And I'm pissed. I want to fight. But my cousin, he talked me down. He's like, look, you got way more to lose than he do. By this time I had been in the military probably, I'm not sure, maybe not even 6, probably 4 years. I joined in 94. This was like 98. So yeah, it had been like 4 years. I had been in the military. And he's like, yeah, you got way more to lose than he do. So it ain't even worth it. And Most High, a year later, he blessed him with way more better furniture, higher end furniture, you know what I'm saying? But just the extent that jealous people, I'm jealous people, the extent that people would do You know what I'm saying? Um, Back to being a giver. And I like a giver. I've always been that person, like just to give, or whatever. Or to serve, like type of person, right? And I remember my sister, man. Let me see before knowing my work. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to stay within my little notes I wrote down. But that same sister who I spent my first paycheck on. So let me back up before that. There's other stories about the same sister. So that whole expecting you out of other people, right? And treating people as you be treated. So and being in the military, I used to go visit home a lot, right? And I never got like, I don't know, like a warm and fuzzy when I would go visit my family. I never really got that from them. You know, no one took off work. I was just sitting there with the dog while I'm there visiting family. But then when family came to visit me, I'm rolling out the red carpet. I got itineraries. If I wasn't cooking for them, I'm taking them out to eat on my dime. It was like a whole thing. But I never received that from my family. So there was this one incident where my family knew I was coming to visit. And I was to stay with this one sister, the same sister I was mentioning earlier. Mind you, she knew I was coming like months in advance, right? And it's in the middle of summer, it's August. And in her house, she had purchased an older house. She had lived in it for a while, but she didn't have central air. She had heat, but not air. So what she did was she bought this fancy air-conditioned window type unit. It's not like the regular old school window unit, but it's a fancier one. And she had it only in her bedroom. So she had guest bedroom, like somewhat of an apartment in the basement, whatever, but the only place she had air was in her bedroom. How about this sister had me sleep on the sofa in the living room? It's like 85, 89 degrees in the house with a freaking box fan while she's in the bedroom under the air. And I'm here visiting. I done traveled 800 miles to visit you. You know I'm coming, and this is how you treat me. So I know I politely knocked on her room door. Hey, we're going to be just like we was little kids again. Move your behind over. And I got in the bed with her. She looking like, what? You don't treat nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? If you can't accommodate me, it's summer, it's August. Just let me go stay with my mama. Let me go get a hotel room, And so now, this same sister, a couple years later, we have a mutual friend that was getting married in Florida, and I was living in Alabama. So we both was invited to the wedding. So instead of her flying into Florida, she flew into Alabama where I was, right? All right. So she wanted to ride with me. Now for me, it was like 4.5, 5-hour drive because I was in Huntsville, and this was down here, the peninsula of Florida. What do you call that? Not the Gulf Shore. It was the Destin. It was down there. Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Florida, all that. So yeah, she got married down there. Shout out to Doris. Anyway, this sister, she flew into Alabama. She jumped in the car with me. She didn't offer to help drive. That's, one thing. She didn't offer to put gas in the car. Okay. We get to the resort. Our friend got married during peak season. It's July. We on the resort, on the beach. We checked in on a Thursday, checked out on a Sunday. I think that was 3 nights, 4 nights. Do you want to know how much that was? $1,700. Because the resort where my friend was getting married, all of that, they had nothing but like suites, different level, like junior suite, like that. There was no like a basic room you would think like a motel, whatever. And maybe we didn't have to stay in that place, but that's where we stayed at. My sister didn't offer to put down money on the room. Hell, she didn't even offer to put down the credit card for incidentals. She put it all on me. This sister make way more than me, right? So I'm like, all right. So then that first night, you know, we on the beach, whatever. We go to a seafood joint. This joker sister, like, wanted me to pay for her meal. I'm talking about it's like $65 a person. Like, hold up. Now, mind you, throughout the years, I've always had to say this to the sister, look, I'm not your man. I'm your brother. You know, so you can't, you know, because, yes, she's had a lot of dudes in the past that have duped her, whatever. They seen money when they saw her, and they try to get over on her. So don't try to take that out on me. I'm not your dude. I'm your brother. You know, so I say, I didn't spend a lot of money already. I ain't come down here. I can't, like, wine and dine you on this trip like this. You know what I'm saying? And I had to tell her that. And then, of course, on the way back, didn't help drive no money in the car, whatever. So that just really, like, that really got my wheels to turning. Based off that trip, I think the next time I went home was like for a holiday or whatever, was like 4 years. I wouldn't go back there because, you know, that and then earlier what happened when I went there. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And it almost made me like stop being like a giver and stop being like a considerate person, stop being me. And I had to say, man, I can't let this change me, who I am. I just have to set boundaries and just like, you know, I had to learn my worth. And also what I had to learn is I've given a lot of myself, finances and what have you, to undeserving people. You know, yeah, I've given myself a lot to very undeserving people. So it's just like I had to just pull back, set boundaries, and just like, hey, I had to scale back on my giving and stuff. You know, yes, Yahuah loves a cheerful giver, but you just can't go out here giving to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody ain't worth your time. They ain't worth your money. They ain't worth your love. They ain't worth it. They're not worth it. And I had to learn that. I'm still learning that. It's still a learning thing, because just in like the dating scene, when I was out there dating and all of that, I would buy you before me. You know, I was there. Yeah, it's like, hey, because I took pride in the fact that this person I'm dating, they mom, whatever, they can wear the Gucci, the Louis, whatever. Well, I'm good. I know. And it wasn't no thing, 'cause I bought it. It wasn't even about that. Just, you know, that's me, that type. So even in that, because people, they'll see that you're a giving person, whatever, and they would abuse that. I've been abused a lot of times because I'm my giving heart or whatever, and I had to watch it. You know, I really do. I actually struggle with that. I really do, because if I'm in a relationship, whatever, I just boom, you know. Excuse me, but that's all though. I just yeah, you can't expect the you out of others. You know, you can't expect the you out of others, and yes, don't change. If you're someone like you want to be respected, and you should treat people the way you want to be treated. But the other side to that, you're not going to always get that same treatment in return. And you have to be okay with that. See, I had to be okay with my sister in the way she was, as far as like, now I wasn't okay with freaking sleeping in the living room in 89-degree weather. But the fact that she didn't offer to pay for gas, offer to drive, I have to be okay with that, because everyone's not considerate like that, you know. And you got to be okay with it too, and just set boundaries and just pull back some. And if you a giver like me, it could be hard sometimes, you know. You just pull back. Man, I'll never forget, man. Let me tell you this little part right here. And I told this on another video. This cousin of mine, back in 2005, he helped me out when I was down bad financially, right? And so what I did was I paid him back monthly, you know, the money that he gave me, like $800, and I paid it back like monthly. I was saying like $80. I think I say $80 a month for like 10 months. It was something like that to pay him back. And 2015, 10 years later, this same cousin who helped me when I was in need, him and his wife were going through some difficult times that I had heard through my mom and my uncle. Of course, he didn't mention it. So I brought it up in the car. He was in town. We were both in Georgia for my dad's funeral. And I was like, John, is everything all right? You good? Like, everything good? And he was like, well, yeah, me and my wife, we got some challenges, whatever, whatever. And I was like, is there anything you need? He said, well, Jay, just anything right now, I would be considerate. So I looked at my phone, and remember I told you I was paying him $80 a month. It was like 10 years ago. I was like, do you and your wife still have this account? And I called the bank at the number. He said, yeah, that's still our bank. Da, da, da. So I sent them, I did a little transaction, and then, and then we was driving on whatever. And then I said, yeah, so later, expect in a couple of days, whatever. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I just sent you some money, And I messed around and mentioned how much. I don't know if he asked me or I told him. But yeah, I sent y'all, sent y'all like the $3,000. He about passed out. I think if he would have been driving, he would have wrecked the car. He didn't know, but man, I want to cry. But the fact that I was able to help someone that helped me, man, that felt so good to be able to help my cousin. Because he helped me when I was in need. And it was a good feeling. So when the Bible says it's better to give than receive, cheerful gift, it really is, man. I felt so good that I was given the opportunity to help him. Felt good, man. But yeah, don't change who you are, man. You like curtail it a little bit, but don't change all the way. If you would give, you still give. Just be mindful of who you're giving to. All right. All right, love y'all. Y'all take care.